I did a whole recap last night, looked after everything and checked it all out. Total record of the best bets, ATS and straight up combined. Out of 43, we're looking at 27 and 16. I do have 3 pushes, but 27 and 16, I think that's very impressive. I calculated, I think that was at 62%. And I think the average, what they say is 55% to be solid. So it was a great year. Hell of a fucking war as far as the NFL season. YouTube, what's good, family? You already know the name, man. I ain't gotta even say no more. Giving you the AFC North, the final division. And that wraps up the both conferences. If you haven't already, check out the past videos. They're all up. Of course, like I already know, doing it back to back, back to back. So, of course, same tire, you already know why. But let's get right into it. Let's start with wow. So, hmm. Hmm. We're gonna start with the bottom win props because yeah, this is crazy. So we're gonna start with Pittsburgh Steelers first. All right. Let's start with Steeler Nation. And I have to say this is probably the Steelers remind me of, I know people are gonna probably say it's a reach. They remind me of a baseball version of the St. Louis Cardinals. They're always kind of in it some way, somehow, every year. They're always kind of in the conversation for making the playoffs or doing something that no one expected. That's how I always look at Pittsburgh. So you got them at 8.5. It's the win prop plus 650 to win a division. However, I would lean under. I'm not saying I'm not saying 7 and 10 either. I think 8 and 9 would be kind of spot on because this is the toughest division in football. And if you haven't checked the numbers lately, this same division has the most wins by percentage in the last 4 years since 2020. And I've said it last season, this was the toughest team division in the whole entire NFL. And you had about you had 3 teams make it out of that division in the playoffs. So this is why I'm saying it's tough nose, hard knock football with this division, and you gotta love it. So with that going under, is this the way it's set up is that if you look at their schedule, and I'm kind of knowing this from top of my head, the first half of the schedule, it looks very doable. Like they can win. You can argue they could probably go about 4-3 in the first 7 games, arguably, and you wouldn't think that's a bad idea. You look to like the week 11 part of the season, that's when they play the whole division other than like the Chiefs on Christmas, right? I think that's the only team they don't play that's a divisional opponent. And the question is with Pittsburgh is they're going to slip up on the games on the first half. So I guess it's who and when. I think that's really the main concern because when you go to that second half, you got to deal with the Ravens twice. You got to deal with the Bengals twice. You got to deal with the Browns twice. That's pretty much the rest of your season at the back end where you wish you probably had them scramble around. Mike Tomlin is a hell of a coach, never had a losing record. I think the ceiling will be 9-8. The lowest ceiling will be the floor will be 7-10. You know, it's really up to Russell Wilson. He keeps saying he's rejuvenated. He never felt, but I feel like every quarterback that gets up to that age says that to say that after they've been having some mid years. In the last 2 years with Denver, he was mid. Now, I do think last season they blamed him for why they weren't winning more than Sean Payton because he was starting to get better towards the end of part of the season. But you know, it's the TJ Watt thing. They rely on TJ Watt so much as I respect the guy as a player, but once he goes down, this defense just cannot do anything. And they need another pass rusher, which I don't think I mean, Cameron Hayward's old. I mean, there's a lot of old players on that D line, man. And the linebackers are younger. You still got Manika Fitzpatrick in the secondary, but your corners aren't that good to me. And you rely on TJ Watt too much. So, and he's kind of like JJ Watt at this point. They're both injury prone, you know. And it's not like TJ Watt can defend the run very well. So that's like my concern. The offense, I think, would be okay with Russ. I mean, because they long as they run the ball first. If they are a run first team, and you got Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator. So I think you expect a lot of that run first, like he did with Tennessee, even with Atlanta. You expect a lot of that. I expect a lot of play action fakes. And then if you have Justin Fields eventually, because we don't know, right? If Russ starts to play bad, they'll throw Justin Fields in there and see what they can do. And if you're using him, you're still gonna have to be a run first team because he prefers to run the ball anyway. So uh listen, I respect Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches that I've seen coach, and he's done what he's supposed to do, but I don't think they make playoffs. That's probably my bold prediction. They don't make playoffs, and I think they're a bottom tier team in the AFC North. That's my bold prediction. Next team, we got the Cleveland Browns, 8.5 win total, plus 500 to win the division. I'm going over. I mean, 8.5 to me is almost damn right disrespectful. 8.5. Yeah, I at least see a 9-win team. You could argue a 10-7 team. With this one is really up to Deshaun Watson, though. We haven't seen him play like Houston Deshaun Watson. We haven't. If he's at least league average, that would, that's all they really need for the quarterback play. You got Chubbs coming back. Ford was the solid running back when he was out. Ford came in and stepped up. You got Kareem Hunt still. I mean, you have players. You got Judy, which he will want a rejuvenating career. You got Judy. You got Cooper. You got players, Njoku. No, everyone talks about Travis Kelce, but David Njoku to me had a very hell of a good season. This dude had a half melted face almost and still played that game and put some numbers up. Njoku is a monster. I would want him on my team. Definitely would. The defense, should I even explain it? Myles Garrett, of course. I come on, man. The defense, Jim Schwartz should be a head coach this based off this season. If he's not, then I don't know what the hell people are looking at. I still expect a top 5 defense. My bold prediction, I think they can win a division. But it's really up to Deshaun Watson. It's really up to him. Because the defense is going to show up. It's really if Watson play these games. I remember thinking he's going to play against Baltimore, and then come to find out he doesn't play. And the locker room's looking at him weird. And they got James Winston as the backup, but is that any much better? I don't really know. But I expect the Browns to be in the playoffs. That is probably my bold prediction. And not division winners, but I at least see them in the playoffs because, like I said, 3 teams made the playoffs last year from this division alone. The Cincinnati Bengals, 10.5 is the win total, plus 170 to win a division. I'm going under the 10.5. I think 10-7 is just right on. Because if you watch Bengals football the last 3 years, they start slow. Like every year, they start very slow. And then they have to wait till about week 5 to start waking up and start trying to play some ball. And I just don't know how can you do that in the AFC? Not just the North, but the whole. How can you do that when you're playing against? I mean, every team in that conference alone in the AFC, I mean, they're pretty much in it, and they do this every year. They go sometimes 1-4, 2-3, and then they win for. I mean, last season, perfect example. I said the game against the Cardinals, that was the start, and then they won 3-4 games in a row until they lose to Houston. And then Joe Burrow gets hurt the next couple of weeks later. I think that's really the concern to me. I almost lean under because I just don't know about Burrow and his health. The problem is the offensive line has been bad for all this time. And I feel like nothing has ever really been improved. You try to get all these veteran type tackles, and for some reason, it just has not been working. They lost Super Bowl. Why? Because offensive line issues. If Aaron Donald wasn't able to make that play, Jamar Chase was open. That would have been a walk-off touchdown. And even you go back to Burrow's rookie year, he was the most sacked quarterback. And he got knocked out the game and injured, tore ACL because of it. So the line is just always to me the biggest question mark because this is what's been holding him back for all this time. I was the only one person to sit there and say, hey, Penei Sewell should be drafted there instead of Jamar Chase. They went with Jamar Chase. I mean, hell, both players worked out in their perspectives and their teams, but you're hurting still. And the defense lost some pieces. You lose DJ Reader. That's a big blow for that team. I think the biggest strength for that team is the secondary. However, I think the Bell came back. Daxon Hill was pretty good. So your secondary is good. I don't know about Henderson, right? Is that the Henderson? Is that the one who's requesting a trade on the defensive side of the ball? You still got Sam Hubbard. So, and then the T. Higgins situation, like it's a lot of distractions on top of that, man. So I think my biggest concern with them would be health. And my bold prediction is I think they miss the playoffs again. That's just how I look at it. It's just Burrow is one hit away from, I don't think that wrist is healthy. Because remember, I was trying to tell you guys to take Cleveland week 1 against Cincy, and because Burrow was still hurt and everyone thought Joe Burrow was going to be Joe Burrow. No. They do this every year. Like, this just look at the numbers, bro. Like, they lost to Pittsburgh, and they were 7-point favorites. So, granted, like, they start the season very slow. I expected that, too, because that's just what they do. But it's like they got a lot of fire in their eyes, and then they start waking up and playing ball, which is crazy. So, first half, I might fade them a lot. But second half of the season, I will probably be a lot more on the edge with them because we got to see what they can do. And lastly, we have the Baltimore Ravens, DMV. Shout out to DMV. Mad love with them. All love. 11.5 is the prop, plus 140 to win the division. I'm going to lean under 11.5. I think 11-6 is perfect because the North is tough. And they lose bonehead games. The Chiefs, the Ravens lose bonehead games, man. That's just all good teams lose some of those games. And I think the difference would be is can Lamar Jackson, he was MVP, but can this team get over the hump? My bold prediction would be they can make the Super Bowl. But can he get over the hump? Because the last time he played, it was up to him to make those decisions. Everything was all in their favor, and he blew it. Throwing in triple coverage. This is some of the things that he was doing where I'm like, bro, like high school, college quarterbacks do that. Nah, you shouldn't be doing that in the pros. So the defense, we know, and the thing is about Baltimore that makes Baltimore scary is when you play at Baltimore, it's just the atmosphere, bro. It gets people. And I can understand that's why they win so many big games at home. You don't really see them lose too many games at home like that because they're usually in it because they're just a good team at home. I will say that. And with Harbaugh, they're a good seasoned team. Every year they're productive. I don't think they missed when the last time they missed the playoffs. Maybe when Lamar Jackson got hurt, what was it, 2021 season? That was probably the last time they missed the playoffs. So, but that was the first time in a long time, too. So, injuries is a thing, man. Andrews, and then the productivity of Derrick Henry is the thing. Now you're gonna make him the number 1 running back, and it looked like you don't have a number 2 running back. You'll find that out during training camp, I'm sure. But I think Henry was washed. I think he's washed. Now with having Lamar Jackson there, maybe I think they open up a little more to the RPO to where he don't technically have to always throw and maybe be in triple coverage and throw the ball. I think they'll make it a little bit more easier with having a running back like that. But it's really up to him because, they're as far as they go, man. Bateman is always hurt. You got Flowers. That's probably your only main number 1 receiver. So I'm expecting a lot of 2 tight end sets. I'm expecting Likely and Andrews to get their props. Granted, I told people about Likely his rookie year. Now he's starting to have a name. So, it's Baltimore has always been a team that's always been good at drafting. You can go back to the expansion when they got Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis in the first round. Ed Reed. We can go on and all about that. But bold prediction, they make Super Bowl, right? And how I would set this division up, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers. You guys comment who you think might be the team to beat this division. Give me some ideas of who y'all like this year, man. This concludes the whole AFC conference. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good things. Be safe out here, y'all.